On the morning of March 4th, 40 nautical miles off the coast of Sri Lanka, an Iranian warship called the Iranian was sailing home. Just 2 weeks prior, her crew had been marching alongside the Indian Navy in the Milan 2026 exercises. But then, an American submarine locked on. An Mk-48 torpedo struck the ship. In a matter of seconds, the Iranian sank to the bottom of the ocean, taking 87 Iranian sailors with it. Only days before this attack, the Eastern Naval Command of India had welcomed these exact sailors in Visakhapatnam under the banner Bridges of Friendship. A non-hostile vessel, fresh from military exercises with India, was destroyed right in India's backyard. The immediate question was how the Indian government would react to a foreign superpower attacking an allied ship so close to home. The response was absolute silence. When the Sri Lankan Navy rushed in to rescue the survivors, India didn't intervene. The ruling party's official account even tweeted that it was not our business. For a decade, the Prime Minister has continuously branded the Indian Navy as the guardian of the Indian Ocean. The government positioned itself as the net security provider for the entire region. When a ship returns from a joint exercise and is destroyed 40 miles off a neighboring coast, it creates a massive gap between India's stated role as a first responder and its actual response to a partner in distress. To understand why India looked the other way, you have to look at the broader map. American and Israeli forces have relentlessly bombed over 2,000 targets across almost every part of Iran. This map shows the scale of Iran's retaliation. We can see the network of missile strikes targeting 27 U.S. military bases spread across 9 Middle Eastern countries, along with dozens of buildings damaged in Tel Aviv. The United States and Israel calculated that the death of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei would trigger an immediate Iranian surrender. That calculation was wrong. The regime maintained control. Instead of a swift victory, the conflict has metastasized. Lebanon's Hezbollah has joined the fight, and the war is forcing nations around the world to pick a side. Since its independence, India has navigated global conflicts using a principle called strategic autonomy. It meant standing firm against any superpower to maintain a balanced, independent stance globally. In 1979, the Soviet Union was one of India's closest allies, but when they invaded Afghanistan, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi publicly condemned the intervention. She prioritized principle over alliance. 3 decades later, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh stood before the United Nations and explicitly condemned Western countries for invading Libya. The approach was consistent. Compare that history to February 26th. Prime Minister Modi visited Israel, calling it the fatherland, and upgraded the relationship to a special strategic partnership with Benjamin Netanyahu. Just 48 hours after Modi left, the joint U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran began. Israeli officials openly stated the operational opportunity emerged only after the Indian Prime Minister's departure. Yet, while the Modi administration aggressively tweeted condemnations of Iran's retaliatory strikes, they said absolutely nothing about the thousands of Iranians killed by American bombs. The balance is gone. A nation that once commanded respect as an independent moral voice has aligned its foreign policy with Washington and Tel Aviv. This compliance comes with a steep economic cost. Russia has been an Indian ally for generations, but following direct pressure from the Trump administration, the Indian government stopped buying Russian oil. The U.S. Treasury later released an official statement granting India a 30-day window of permission to accept Russian oil, specifically to stabilize global supply gaps. An independent country of 1.4 billion people now waits for a hall pass from a foreign government just to power its own cities. This geopolitical pivot is about to hit the average citizen's wallet. Iran has executed its ultimate threat, shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. This pie chart shows India's oil sources. With 55% from the Middle East blocked and Russian imports capped by the U.S., the math doesn't work. The buffer is vanishing. Reserves plummeted from 74 days to just 25. LPG costs are already climbing. When a government trades away its autonomy to please an overseas ally, it is the domestic population that ends up paying the invoice at the gas pump, and the crisis is engineered to get even worse. Intelligence reports indicate the CIA is trying to strike a deal to arm rebel Kurdish groups inside Iran, sparking a civil war to overthrow the Islamic regime. We have seen exactly how this plays out. The United States used this identical strategy of arming rebel factions in Iraq and Syria, a move that directly incubated ISIS. By taking a supporting role in a foreign intervention, the Guardian of the Indian Ocean risks losing its voice entirely, while a regional conflict moves closer to its own borders.